Cheap hosting works fine at low traffic, but when your site actually starts getting visits, shared servers get throttled, pages slow down, sometimes they don't load at all, and that unlimited promise quietly disappears. So in this video, we're reviewing SiteGround's major 2026 updates, new AI tools, caching updates, and revised pricing to find out if the premium cost is actually justified. Server infrastructure and caching aren't glamorous topics, but they have a direct impact on revenue. A 1-second delay in page load sometimes reduces conversion by around 7%, so the speed of your hosting is effectively a business decision. Think of cheap shared hosting as a crowded highway at rush hour. You're sharing resources with thousands of other sites, and when one spikes, everything slows down. SiteGround runs on Google Cloud infrastructure, which is closer to a private toll road. Better routing, dedicated resources, and your site isn't competing for bandwidth every time traffic picks up. Now, before we get into testing, if you find these breakdowns useful, you can subscribe. We keep these reviews updated as things change, especially with hosting. So what's actually new here? Well, the most significant additions in 2026 are on the AI and site building side. SiteGround has introduced an AI WordPress assistant that handles routine tasks, updates, content edits, and basic site management, reducing the need to navigate settings manually. And this is genuinely useful for site owners who don't want to spend time in the WordPress dashboard for every small change. On the site building side of things, SiteGround has expanded its builder with two notable additions. Visual Edit lets you click directly into a live page and make targeted changes without switching to a separate editor. CodeRick AI adds image generation into that same workflow, so design and content work happen in one place rather than across multiple tools. For anyone building or managing a site without a developer, that reduction in tool switching is a real time saver. On the infrastructure side, SiteGround has continued refining its custom CDN and has full PHP 8.3 support, both of which contribute to faster page delivery and better compatibility with modern WordPress setups. The broader direction here is clear. SiteGround is positioning itself as a full platform hosting, site building, AI tools, e-commerce, and email rather than a standalone host. Whether that bundled approach justifies the price is what the rest of this review will get into. So like I said, SiteGround runs on Google Cloud infrastructure, which gives it a more stable performance baseline than traditional shared hosting. Every plan includes a free CDN and multi-level caching out of the box, and on higher tiers, SiteGround also delivers up to 30% faster PHP processing compared to standard configurations. That's where the performance gap between SiteGround and budget hosts becomes most visible under real traffic. Their proprietary caching system, SuperCacher, works across 3 levels: static cache for non-dynamic content, dynamic cache for database-heavy pages, and memcache for applications with heavy user traffic. Combined with the Speed Optimizer plugin, which handles image compression, lazy loading, and front-end optimization automatically, most performance work is handled before you even publish your first page. In testing, that infrastructure holds up really well. Page load times consistently sat in the 1 to 2 second range, GT metrics returned an A grade, and uptime held at 100% throughout the monitoring period. And for a WordPress site, that's a strong out-of-the-box result without any manual optimization required. By the way, if you're still comparing hosting options, we've put together a full breakdown of the best hosting providers this year based on speed, security, and overall value. I'll link to that down below if you want to see how SiteGround stacks up. SiteGround replaced cPanel with its own dashboard called Site Tools, and for most users, it's a clear improvement. cPanel is functional but pretty cluttered. Site Tools organizes everything by tasks: site management, security, speed, email, and backups. There's no digging through menus to find basic functions. Setup includes a guided onboarding wizard that walks you through your first site step by step, which does make a difference if you're not configuring hosting regularly. Installing WordPress takes a few clicks. Choose WordPress, set your credentials, and it's live. If you're migrating an existing site, the built-in migrator handles it without manual file transfers. Generate a token, enter it in your old site, and SiteGround pulls everything across. Creating an email is equally direct. Set the address, link it to your domain, and you're done. Backups are automatic and stored daily. Restoring a previous version is a few clicks with no technical input required. For anyone who has spent time wrestling with cPanel or manually configuring WordPress installs, then SiteTools is a noticeable step up in day-to-day usability. And if you're starting from scratch, we've also covered the full process step by step from domain to launch, so you don't waste time figuring things out as you go. Okay, now for pricing. SiteGround's pricing has two very different numbers, and it's important to know both before you commit. The introductory rate is comprehensive with budget hosts and makes it an easy first purchase. The renewal rate is a different story. Once your first term ends, the price increases significantly across all plans. The gap between what you pay in year 1 and what you pay in year 2 and onward is the most important factor in deciding whether SiteGround makes financial sense for your situation. Introductory pricing is standard across the hosting industry, but SiteGround's renewal rates sit noticeably higher than most budget competitors, which is worth factoring in from day one. If you're building a short-term project or want to test the platform out, the first term is excellent value. If you're hosting long-term, then the renewal price is the number you should budget around, not the promotional rate that you signed up with. Okay, now what about support? Support is arguably the strongest argument for SiteGround's premium price, and the one most people don't consider until something goes wrong. With budget hosting, the typical support experience is a ticket system. You submit an issue, wait anywhere from hours to days for a response, and often get pointed to a help article that may or may not be relevant. And the problem stays broken in the meantime. SiteGround, on the other hand, offers 24/7 live chat and phone support with fast connection times and, more importantly, issues that get resolved in the same conversation. In testing, configuration questions were answered directly and setup problems were fixed without needing follow-up tickets. The practical way to think about it, you're not just paying for a faster server, you're paying for an IT team that's available around the clock. So when your site goes down at 2 a.m. before product launch, then that distinction matters a lot. So who is SiteGround actually for? Well, if you're running a personal blog or testing an idea, then cheaper hosting is absolutely fine. Slower speeds and occasional instability won't cost you much when there's nothing on the line. But if your site generates revenue or is meant to, the calculus changes. Downtime, slow load times, and poor support aren't just inconveniences at that point, they're lost income. SiteGround's performance, infrastructure, and support quality make it an investment in protecting that income, not just a more impressive version of the same thing. If you want to lock in their first year discount, there is a promotional link down in the description box below. It's the best entry price that you'll find for this platform.